Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and today's big news. There have been rumours swirling around for a while now about Lawrence Stroll possibly buying a stake in Aston Martin, which could lead to the Racing Point team being rebranded. And this morning it was confirmed that Stroll has purchased 16.7% of the company, paying £182 million for it. Bargain. It has also been confirmed that Racing Point will, as rumoured previously, be renamed Aston Martin from 2021, and an initial deal for 10 years has been agreed, with Racing Point becoming Aston's official works team in F1. Oh, this is such good news. Let's start, as we always do in these videos, with some of the quotes from those involved in all of this, and a statement read: Aston Martin has entered into a legally binding term sheet under which the Racing Point F1 team will become the Aston Martin F1 Works team with effect from the 2021 season. This agreement is for a 10-year initial term, and Aston Martin will receive an economic interest in the team. And that was added to by Lawrence Stroll, of course, who said, "I am very pleased that I and my partners in the consortium have reached agreement with the board and major shareholders to make this significant long-term investment. Our investment announced today underpins the company's financial security and ensures it will be operating from a position of financial strength. I and my partners firmly believe that Aston Martin is one of the great global luxury car brands. I believe that this combination of capital and my experience of both the motor industry and building highly successful global brands will mean that over time we fulfill Aston Martin's potential." So with that all confirmed then, what does it mean for the Red Bull partnership with Aston Martin? Well, they released a statement this morning announcing that this year will, as you'd probably expect, be the final year of their title partnership with Aston Martin. But, crucially, the technology partnership will continue between the two parties until the Valkyrie hypercar has been, quote, delivered. That's a good-looking car as well. It's a really good-looking car. I should be buying two. Shortly after the announcement was made, the team released a statement which said the following: "The team can confirm that the manufacturer will remain title partner until the end of the 2020 season, but this contract will not be extended past the end of the current term. Red Bull Advanced Technologies will continue to work with Aston Martin in order to deliver the Valkyrie hypercar, with the first car scheduled for delivery at the end of the year. We thank Aston Martin for their support over the past 4 years, and our focus remains on working together throughout the 2020 season and ending our partnership on a high." There we go then. After much speculation, it has finally been confirmed, and the Aston Martin name will return to F1 sort of proper from the start of next season. I say sort of because Aston will not be building their own engines, and so fundamentally it is pretty much just a name change, although I'm sure there will be more to it than that, and we'll probably learn a bit more in the coming weeks and months. From what I've been reading today, it is believed that Racing Point's deal to run the customer Mercedes power units is a long-term deal, and there were even some reports claiming this morning that the agreement could be, I guess, expanded on, with Racing Point or Aston Martin, as they will be next year, working potentially more closely with Mercedes. Nothing official on that yet, though. And talking about Mercedes, what does this all mean for that rumour that Stroll and Toto Wolff were allegedly set to buy the Silver Arrows and rebrand them as Aston? I mean, technically, that's not going to happen now, but as Stroll owns that stake, in the long term, that might change. It could also be, just speculating here, that the media heard Stroll was set to buy Aston. They also picked up on Merc possibly pulling out, and is often the case during the winter, put 2 and 2 together and came up with 5. Who knows though, stranger things have happened. Back to the point though, and I think this is great news for the Racing Point team, for Aston Martin as well, and indeed for F1. And quite frankly for me as well, I'm very excited about this. I've always had a soft spot for that team, right back to the Jordan days. They were one of my favourite teams as a kid. And Aston is such an iconic name, and to be honest, it was just awesome seeing them back in F1 as a title sponsor and just taking an interest in the series. So for the name to return as a full team, and with them, as they say, receiving an economic interest, I think it's fantastic news, brilliant stuff. And on top of all of that, it's also awesome that this whole thing protects the Aston company as well, so it's wins all round. Quickly on this one though, in terms of the drivers, nothing is set to change. Sergio Perez is signed up on a multi-year deal, and although nothing has been officially announced, I think it's pretty safe to assume that Lance Stroll will be staying there for a long time, well, probably until he retires. The drivers were worth a quick mention though, because sometimes, when a team goes through a change, the incoming sponsor or company like to bring in another driver. Frankly though, that was never going to happen because it is the renaming of a team owned by Lawrence Stroll by a company now partially owned by Lawrence Stroll. Again though, as I say, worth a very brief mention. I don't know if I've made this clear, but I am just so pleased to see that iconic name returning as its own team. And on top of all of that, we lose that Racing Point name. I was never a fan of that, and I don't think many were. And it always felt like a bit of a placeholder. And I think most people watching this now would agree that if you had the choice between Aston Martin and Racing Point, you're probably going to pick Aston. I suppose what this also means as well, technically, we do have a team now confirmed for 2021 and thus the new Concord agreement, in theory anyway. So that's even more good news for F1. If nobody else signs up, we'll at least have a grid full of Astons, and just for the record, I do think all teams will sign up for that post-2020 era. And I hope this as well helps to further protect the future of that team. It's not had the easiest of rides in F1. Like I said, you go back to the Jordan days and they had financial problems. They became somebody else and then somebody else and then somebody else and now Racing Point. It's been a rough old ride at times and they've always been the overachievers. You know, a team that nobody expected to ever do anything, but they're always punching well above their weight. And it will be awesome if all of this and this investment that Stroll is putting in, if that put them in the position to challenge towards the sharp end of the grid. Pure speculation, that one, though. We don't know what's going to happen after this season, but I'm feeling very positive about their future, which I was anyway, to be fair, but this just adds something else to it. And whilst we're on about speculation, let me know what you think in the comments section, but what about the livery? Will they make the switch to the old British Racing Green, or will they be staying pink? I think British Racing Green has got to be a relatively safe bet, surely. And like I say, with this backing, a big name behind them, and the money of Stroll, could this be the start of something very special for that team? I certainly hope so, but ultimately, time will tell on that one. Once again, for the millionth time in this video, great news all round. That is it though for this quick-ish news video, but you can let me know your thoughts on this deal down in the comment section, and also, like I say, let me know which way you think they'll go in terms of a livery. And don't forget, you can also follow me over on social media with all of the links you need for that in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.